My name is Ashraf Gamal. I am the CEO of Hawkamah. Hawkamah is the Corporate Governance Institute of Dubai. It's actually owned by the DIFC. What we do is corporate governance work in the MENA region in general, whether that's awareness events, sessions, conferences, publications, research. Also, we work with the regulators of the region to have good governance structures and regulations for the companies of the region. We work with the clients, companies, banks, family businesses, to help them to establish good corporate governance systems for their own companies. And finally, do training for directors, potential directors, company secretaries, and all the jobs related to the corporate governance function in organizations. I have to say that we are still far away from being really mature in the international best practice sort of standards. We are improving very fast. Some countries are ahead of other countries, of course, in the region. In the UAE, we are very lucky because the government is pushing corporate governance very hard, whether that's for listed companies, for government-owned companies, and even for government institutions. So we are moving very fast, but still we are a little bit behind if you talk about the global sort of trends in corporate governance. Well, actually, boards are in the heart of corporate governance. So whenever you talk about corporate governance, you have to talk about boards of directors. That's where governance is. And this is one of the key issues that I think is affecting corporate governance, because some of the boards are young, mature, they are energetic, they are driving governance. Other boards are too old, too old-fashioned. They don't believe in governance, so governance is not happening in their cases. So where we can see governance excelling is actually where you have good boards, dynamic, have some young people, well-educated people who travel to developed markets and so on. Where we see governance lacking is actually when we see more senior sort of style boards, old-fashioned boards, family-controlled boards, whether these are listed companies or non-listed companies. That's where we see governance having some sort of challenges, if you like, in that respect. But boards, they are actually the heart of corporate governance. State-owned enterprises in some countries of the region, they are doing well because they are regulated by very clear mandate for corporate governance. So they do have codes and laws and regulations. Others are not. However, there are serious challenges that we are facing with government-owned companies. In some cases, they operate in competitive markets where they don't follow the same rules as other companies in the market, the private sector companies, while in some cases, they are actually monopolies. So they don't have that much pressure to have good governance anyways. So what we see is actually people who are in charge of operations and CEOs in these companies, for them governance is not a priority in most of the cases, except for when governments are pushing. As I said, for example, in Dubai, in the UAE, the government is pushing more and more governance for state-owned companies. So you see some of the best companies we have are actually state-owned companies, and they have very clear governance structures and very strong ones, which actually can really match the best practice globally speaking. But this is not really something which is common in the region, I have to admit.